want to talk to you about previewing. Previewing is an essential skill to have. There's two kinds of previewing I want to discuss with you at the moment, and that is key sentence previewing and name and number scan. First, let's talk about key sentence previewing. This is where we take our finger and we read the first sentence of a paragraph. The first sentence of a paragraph is sort of like a subtitle for that whole paragraph. Typically, the way we're taught to write is to write our bold idea, whatever it might be, or it might be a question we're asking in that first sentence. So that's going to key us in to the main idea of what that paragraph's about. This is so our brain understands the structure of the paragraphs and the chapter that we're going to preview. Typically, you would read the first sentence of the first paragraph, then skip the rest of the paragraph for now, moving on to the first sentence of the second paragraph, reading that, and then moving on to the third paragraph and reading the first sentence of that. Now, the good news is, oftentimes you don't actually have to read the entire first sentence. Sometimes it's only the first few words which will give away the topic for that paragraph. Typically in class, people ask me, well, how many paragraphs should I preview before going back and reading everything? And I'll say, well, between 3 and 5, typically try to do 5, see how that goes for you. If you can handle that easily and you can remember the gist of those 5 little subtopics, then you can start stretching yourself out to 6 and 7, 8 paragraphs, whatever you can handle. Now, on different days, your brain may be working better than it does on other days, and you'll only be able to handle 5, other days maybe 10. Just see what works for you. Then again, you're going to go back after you've done that previewing and read all the content, including a second impression of that main subtopic, which is going to, through repetition, make that stick in your mind better. Now let's talk about name and number scan. This is where you're scanning down the page looking for proper names, like proper nouns, like place names, cities, people's names, and numerals. The numerals tend to jump out at you. When you come to one of these, simply dwell on it for a couple of seconds, sort of let it sink in, and then move on to the next one. So it might be a series of names and numbers, like you're going through and you come to the name Winston Churchill. So you just think to yourself, Winston Churchill, okay. And then you might come to a date, 1878. So you're just going to repeat to yourself 1878 a bit. And you're going to end up with a collection of facts and figures. What's this going to do for you? Well, it's going to give you curiosity. And curiosity is a great thing to have when you're reading because it's going to turn on your brain. Your brain's going to be interested, it's going to get focused, and it's going to stay focused longer when you're curious about the information, how it fits together. As you're reading along, as the facts come in and find their place, it will all begin to make sense, and you'll be able to figure it out as you go and even possibly anticipate where the author is going. What you're going to do with that information is build yourself an info map. Say you're a student, perhaps you want an info map of a chapter. So as you start going through these paragraphs, you're going to take that information and you're going to put it into your info map. And when you do this, and this is important, I'd like you to do it from memory.